All right, here we go, guys.
We are Delta Mike November. Do you copy? Over. Roger that. We are Oscar Mike. Delta Mike November Actual. Out. We are Delta Mike November. Do you copy? Over. Roger that. We are Oscar Mike. Delta Mike November Actual. Out. We are Delta Mike November. Do you copy? Over. Roger that. We are Oscar Mike. Delta Mike November Actual. Out.
There we go. Cool ass intro. More of my music.
It's excellent.
Thank
I
you.
dig it.
Do you like that, Pope?
Yeah, I dig it.
Fuck
Yeah,
you. I don't,
interesting
care.
little
I don't care what
blues
you
riff
think
on it.
of my work.
He's got Metallicus in his name. I would think that
You're
he's
just a crayon eating.
I don't think it's
marine.
too much of a side shuffle there. You know?
Well, true. We got like a really good alliteration going on here. We got an artist, an actor, an author, aviator, and an autistic kid.
Don't forget the
How do you know the
Hispanic.
aviator's not an autistic kid? Look at
Oh,
the
man.
glasses.
That's
Happy
true.
4th of July. These won't stay on because I know it's too much of a distraction when I'm acting like Elton John. So we're not going to do that tonight.
So
That's
we got
Sir
some folks
Elton.
already in the
That's Sir
chat,
Elton,
by the
excuse
way.
me.
We've got, of course, my loving girlfriend, Anna Confusa, in the chat. Andy Morrow, who is not my loving girlfriend, but a good friend of mine from the UK. We got ERRT Radio. And let's see, who else in the chat? Is that it? That's it right now.
Yes.
And as
For
the
now.
alerts go up, more people will show up. We end up getting some really good views over the weeks. You know, it's like we go live, but the fact is we get a lot of views in the reviews where people come back or get the updates through the algorithm and come watch the show and they have fun with it. And today we've got the amazing Fahim Fazli, good friend of mine. 12 freaking years, dude. You and I have been friends.
12 years, man. Unbelievable.
The
Well,
first
look
time
at
we
you
talked
two.
was over your book.
Were you guys like friends in grade school? You don't look that old.
We
Damn.
I was working because I've worked for Dale Dice since 06. And when they launched the publishing division, Warriors Publishing Group, Fahim's book was one of the early books I did the cover for.
There you go.
And
First
they
one.
weren't sure how they were going to do it. And there we go.
That's
And
the
they
first
weren't sure how to do it. And I said, I know exactly what to do. And so this is the front and back artwork right here.
Yep.
And it is an award-winning book. And like Dale Dye, I pride myself on the fact that according to certain publishing groups, I have had more award-winning books that I've done the covers for than any other cover artist. And
Not a
all of them
surprise.
are Military Writers Association awards, which I'm proud of that. It's like, yeah. But Fahim, you know, he and I just sort of talked one day. I can't even remember why we talked. It's just, I think it just wanted to meet you.
I'll
And
be honest with you, Gary. I'm very honored to, first of all, thank you for you guys allow me to be part of you guys' show. And happy 4th of July. And thank
happy
you.
Fourth to you, my friend.
Thank you.
'Cause you are an American man, and you did something so few people in Hollywood would even dare think of doing. Is you gave up your career, put it on hold, and to serve your country, and you went back to Afghanistan, a place you fled.
Yes, sir.
And you went back there.
I'd run away from the communists in 1979 when the Russian invaded Afghanistan. And thanks to America and thanks to Western countries, allow us to become a refugee in their countries, including London, Germany, all the other countries. And no other Middle Eastern country allow us to go there to become a refugee. and it's still in Qatar, Kuwait, and Saudi, and Dubai. Even you're born there, if you're second generation, they will never give you citizenship. That's why I appreciate this country more than a lot of countries, because I came here, followed the law, make sure I'm clean, I'm not a criminal, I'm not anything part of any kind of group, and allow me to be part of this country, become a citizen, learn the culture, learn the history of this beautiful country, and follow my dream.
Absolutely. And, and it was a tumultuous experience for you, because I know it took you years to get your family over. And we've gone through this the last two times you're on. I'm not going to make you tell those stories over again. But, I just always found your life so fascinating. And that's why we're doing this 12th year anniversary with the new cover, which was supposed to be a surprise for you. You weren't. There it is. That's
12 years. And I want to thank you what you did for my first book, which is you did a good job, and I appreciate it. Even Tom Hanks endorsed it because they saw what a beautiful cover you did. And 12 years anniversary, I want to put American flag and Afghan flag to appreciate this country, where I came from. Afghanistan is my birth country. America is my adopted country. And I want to thank you, what you did for this cover. And hopefully people are going to read it. 50 more pages added on top of this. And thanks to Dr. Julia, thanks to Lieutenant Colonel Michael Moffat, my co-author, and thank you for the WPG publishers, and Captain Dale Dye put a lot of work on this one, and I want to appreciate you guys, what you guys did for my dream come true.
Well, aside from being your cover artist, I really do consider you one of my dearest friends.
I'm saying here.
And I used to laugh so hard. He'd call me Cobra. He'd call me, well, hey, boss. And I'm like, don't call me that. Now Martin does that. Martin does that shit with me all the time. I'm in the middle of Fahim, do you game at all, video games?
Yes, I do.
I do Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, I've done a lot of them, a lot of episodes, a lot of scenes. And of course, I usually get typecast.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get into it too much, but I think you got robbed because they were using your voice on other games they didn't pay you for.
Yeah.
And that always bothered me. But I play a lot of Call of Duty, and we're in the middle of a game, Fahim. Then you hear Martin. Martin is in there, and he's like, hey, boss. Hey, boss. I'm like, don't call me that when we're playing a game. It's just really weird. Other people listening to us.
The plane, boss. The plane.
It's the plane. The plane. By the way, I want to point out that Commander Cobra is here, and it's so grateful to have you on here, buddy. Love those glasses. You're a patriot. You are a warrior, and you have my utter respect. And thank you for
deeply
joining
appreciate
me.
it. It's a privilege to be with you, to hear Fahim's story, and I am familiar with it. I've read quite a bit about him. Everything you've been through, Jerry. Pope obviously has a shared part, and Martin's always been very kind. So thank you very much for having me and putting up with my nonsense of not letting my eyes be seen to the public.
It's a thing that he does. If you didn't know that about him, Pope, I thank you for being here, my brother. And again, I want to thank all three of you, and that includes you, Fahim, for your service, because you did serve this country.
Absolutely.
And, you were a warrior, and I am curious, did they arm you? I hope they armed you, because you're going to some
actually no, they didn't arm me, because the reason they didn't arm me, I was make sure I blend in with the Afghan. I was like this, make sure nobody be afraid of us.
Would mistake and think you're a soldier. Okay, because I know they do occasionally arm the Terps over there.
We did arm ours because a couple of them got killed early on.
Well, that's the problem, especially if they live regionally. They have families there, and they have to be armed. But you actually stayed at the FOB, from what I understand, and also with them at all times.
I was in the FOB, but I was patrolling. I did a 242 patrolling in 2 years, and I was very good at it. I was using my acting skill, go to village, and Captain Benson, General Mills, General Nicholson, I was going to the bazaars. I was going village to village to buy people. I mean, to make sure they trust my Marine. And I did such a good job before I leave. Even the Taliban says, please leave Fahim here, because a lot of translator, they've been zigzag, and they've been double agent, wasn't honest, and some tribe issues going on.
They ran into that a lot in Iraq in particular, but also in Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan too. And the reason they trust me, the Taliban or local or the Marines, because I was trying to do the right translation, make sure nobody get killed, make sure that everybody be happy. And thanks God, on my watch, no Marine died, no civilian died, and no enemy died. Even we did a ceasefire, so we bring people together, and this side and this side, I was between, and I did a lot of good translation. Make sure nobody get killed.
How stressful was it?
Very stressful, because you have to think about it. My wife and my daughter's American, and my best friends, everybody's American. My colonel, Captain Benson, all these American I trust. I grew up with them almost more than 35 years. And I'm born in Afghanistan, my Afghan people. Yeah, I was very nervous. Make sure nobody get hurt. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, even if some Taliban called my colonel or general, go F yourself, that's why you're here, and the Marine called them some word, I was make sure of doing the right translation, make sure nobody pulled trigger, and of course I was in the middle, I would get killed first, but I was doing very soft and nice, and make sure one of the colonel was said, please tell me what he says. I said, sir, you don't want to hear that. Are you sure you want to hear that? Okay, I'll translate it for you. He says, go F, do, they, your mother, da, 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 da. Then he was laughing, and I'm so glad he's laughing. I thought he's going to pull a trigger and shoot the guy. But everybody, both sides has an agenda, and our government later on made a wrong decision, American government. I don't want to be too involved with politics, but we should not leave Afghanistan.
No, and it was a huge mistake, and we saw the problems it caused. A lot of people lost their lives, servicemen and citizens that should have been treated better and brought over to the United States that got left behind.
Yep, and we support the corruptions, Afghan corruption government. I mean, I was been telling you my colonel generals, I said, sir, you guys supporting the wrong people. You get these people taking your money and our tax money, supporting them, and they all build houses, businesses in Qatar and Dubai and Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. None of them that care about Afghanistan. And if you notice, as soon as Americans they left, they all left too. We took a lot of money, they left, and that's why right now Afghan people prefer to be with the Taliban, because more security, no bribery, no shooting, no killing, no nothing. They used to, if you have a cell phone, they kill you for one cell phone. Now is $100 on the floor, in the ground, nobody cares. You don't have a guts to pick it up the $100.
Life has no value when you run into situations like that.
Right. But you have to understand, American government was supporting the wrong government. And I've been advising the American government, please bring the majority back. What happened after 9/11, they kicked the majority out, the Pashtun, which is now the Taliban, and they bring the minority. The minority don't know how to run the country. I mean, majority of Afghanistan is Pashtun. They run by 500, 100,000 years. And the British had a problem two-time invade Afghanistan, 18th century. In 19th century, the Russian, the reason because they kick the majority out and bring the minority, and it doesn't work that way. And democracy doesn't work in those countries. Those countries soar, and with the law, if you rape, if you do something, cut them off, no tax money to the support you, get rid of them. Those kind of things work. Democracy doesn't work this way.
Yeah, it's like it's one of the reasons why, like I tell people all the time, America, we hear people calling the United States a democracy, and I'm like, no, we're not. We use the democratic method. What we are is a constitutional republic. We're a
Correct.
republic that uses constitutional law to keep it under control, because even a republic can fail. And we learned from all the other failures, this is the way we go. And the only way democracy works in this country is through the process of voting. And we're seeing a breakdown even in this country of that, and how people learn to cheat and learn to work the system. And if it can happen here, it's it's going to be worse elsewhere. And Afghanistan is, I don't know, it's almost like the old West, Afghanistan. What I've read about that place. I mean, I remember doing some research, and I saw this documentary on the production of what do they call them? Fake money. What is that called?
Monopoly money?
No, fake money. When people make fake money and
counterfeit.
Counterfeit weapons being produced in Afghanistan, including the SKS and AK-47.
Oh yeah, the Khyber Pass guns. Those are fun.
Yeah. Crazy shit.
Yeah. Khyber Pass between Jalalabad and Peshawar is called Pashtunistan. And that Pashtunistan is the most toughest place in the world. And the British lost 3 times. And they can copy this one tomorrow in 10 minutes. Any kind of weapons.
It's crazy.
They can.
And they come up with some really interesting uses for old weapons too. Like when I was on the other side of the country, Helmand Province, but we used to find guns that were probably made in Khyber Pass, because they had like a Chinese AK barrel with a Romanian foregrip on a Russian receiver. It was like they took 4 different AKs that had probably broken at some point and just mashed them together in one functioning rifle.
It is, of course, what we're talking about is these are machine and printed weapons.
They make their own as well.
They make them there, and it's crazy. But they do it.
But you have to understand, sir, Pakistan playing double agent for a long time, for centuries, century. When Pakistan got divided by India, and British split them to make sure they keep them in the future. We call Pakistanis children of English, which is they've been trained very well. I mean, look at us. Bin Laden was hiding in Lower Pindi, half an hour from the Islamabad capital. And I was warning my Colonel Moffat and General Mills, General Nicholson, Marine. I said, your number one enemies of Pakistan, sir. And they didn't want to get involved too deeply, because the White
House, why they got so pissed when we took Osama out.
Yep.
They got angry about that shit, because
it's convenient the raid that actually got him, because that was like the 5th raid we launched, and it was the only one we hadn't told the Pakistanis about beforehand.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, thanks to our military, we have the best military in the world, but our governor making wrong decisions sometimes. We
have a habit of trusting the wrong people and listening to the wrong indigenous groups in any kind of occupation like that. We did the same thing in Vietnam. We made the same mistakes in Iraq, especially early on when they were flagging these gatherings as these are all Taliban. What we didn't know is they were using us to assassinate their political enemies.
Yeah,
Afghan weddings, they're shooting off mortars and stuff. We think of that as, that's a Taliban firebase. Let's go after it and hit it with a 500-pounder. What we didn't realize is we just blew up a wedding.
Yeah, because in our culture, Afghan culture, when we celebrate, we shoot in the air. Yeah. And that's why I got so pissed off a local translator, and they come in the village. Hey, Fahim, tell your commander, I know where's the Taliban. And I punch him so hard. I said, go F yourself. Don't even make the American the bad people. They can go bomb over there. So I know there's a wedding going on over there. And that's why the American and the Taliban and the civilian loved me so much, because I wasn't telling my Marine to go bomb there. Let's go figure out what's going on. And like you said, we bomb a lot of wrong wedding because of the wrong translation. And what happened, former government of Afghanistan, they hate the Pashtun, which is the Pashtun is a majority of Afghanistan. That's why they want to get rid of Pashtun. Now they're crying why American left, they're a coward American. No. Americans support you $3 trillion for 20 years. He didn't do anything about Afghanistan. Now you have a house in Dubai and Washington and Virginia and Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. Now you're crying. Our tax money to support you, and you are doing a wrong thing and tell American bomb here, bomb here, bomb here. What American didn't know? They're the one leaking information for a wrong reason.
And what we were hearing from, mostly the Tajiks and Uzbeks was basically, oh, well, they're Pashtun, they're the bad guys, like they're the extremists, yada, yada, thinking we don't know.
No, yeah, you guys don't know. I mean,
meanwhile, the Pashtuns were actually one of the easier ones to deal with. Like, as long as you follow Pashtunwali and don't violate that, you're good.
And then, I mean, sir, I wish a lot of Americans have a knowledge like you do, sir. I mean, Pashtunwali run Afghanistan for 500 years. I mean, Pashtunwali is running the whole Tajik, Uzbek. They came in from when the World War II happened. They all run away from Russia. And they came with a refuge. We give them a refuge in Afghanistan, and now they want to be the majority. They want to kick us out. Doesn't work that way. Like, I don't want to be racist in this country, and minority come and get rid of all the white people. Doesn't work. Who came first? They're a majority. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And who've been there running things in that country. I mean, you saw that in South Africa recently where, once they started, ending apartheid, obviously a good thing, but it led to some decisions of like, okay, well, we're going to put these people in power
radical decisions.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to put these people in power now.
Taking over the farms.
What they're doing.
Well, they're taking over the farms, taking the previous white owners out, but they don't know how to run the farms, so now they're starving.
Yeah, but Jerry, don't forget, there's also the other element that always gets pulled into this. You have a Marxist communist background that flavors a lot of these turnovers. Every time we try to collectivize the farm, I mean, quite honestly, every time we try to break out of what the structure was of Afghanistan, you get into trouble. As soon as you no longer have communities, as soon as you no longer have any kind of religious moral code that goes with it, once you start saying, well, look, everything is okay as long as you follow this codice in this book, everyone has, equal part and say, completely screw sideways the words democracy and, the whole part of it. But go back to this. We had a long-running operation in Afghanistan when the Soviets invaded. We had a very successful one, and we blew it.
Yep.
When that ended, we blew it. We didn't continue to go with it. And we have this idea, and obviously it's people who just never have worked in their lives, or they've never done what you had to do, Fahim. Leave everything, throw everything to the wind. I mean, you teared me up when you told me the story about it, what you did to get here and what I read about you. I mean, it is the American story. It is everything that we're supposed to be about. But when you look back at that, we think that you're going to sprinkle seeds of democracy or whatever you want to call it, and the plant's going to grow. No, it's not. That's not. Things are not. We did the same thing in Iraq. We almost did the same thing in post-war Germany.
Yeah.
During World War II, where we said everybody who ever put on the uniform, that's it, criminal for life. And then you realize the trains don't run, the water's not getting going down the pipes, the sanitation's not working, the food's not coming in from the fields, and then we're shocked. So what do? We start writing checks, and checks are going to make.
I would like to point out, real quick, Cobra, just interjecting. A lot of people are unaware that there was an insurgency in Germany after the war.
The werewolves, the absolute, the vestiges of Nazism, and what are we doing?
Yeah, largely the SS that survived a lot of the roundups and stuff like that after the war ended up being leading insurgents.
All it takes,
and then
is
you had also the Meinhof gang. I forget the name.
Oh, the Baden-Meinhof gang. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's my era in the 80s when I was there dealing with those happy souls.
I was a culture technical advisor for the movie Charlie Wilson. Tom Hanks and Philip Hoffman, everybody, Mike Nichol, the director, said one of my quote I told them, and they used it. You guys fuck it up the end. You help us, the freedom fighters, the Mujahideen, for 15 years to defeat the communists, which is Ronald Reagan, God bless him. He says only one way to destroy the communists, give Czechoslovakia, Poland, Germany, everybody a freedom. We have to make sure they're bleeding in Afghanistan slowly with Afghan blood and American weapons, that's why I was a culture technical advisor, because that time I was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I fought the communists. And I was so impressed by they use one of my dialogue. You guys fought, Charlie Wilson said, we fuck it up the end. We should not leave Afghanistan 1989. We should not. We should go inside. That's why Bin Laden later on he got pissed off because the American walk away. He saw Afghanistan as the best place to fight others, which is because we have the best mountain, the best cave, the best guerrilla fighters. And that's why Bin Laden hijacked my birth country. And later on, they did team up with the Saudis, whatever they did. They started 9/11. And that was a big mistake doing Bush Sr. They should not walk away from Afghanistan. That was the result. The 9/11 was beginning when they left Afghanistan. We helped so much money in Pakistan, give the Pakistanis weapon to help us, the Afghan, and they give us the old weapons. They keep the new weapon. That's why Pakistan has been playing. I'm always been against Pakistan and Saudis. They always playing double agent. They come and say hello to you. They put a gold chain to Obama, to Clinton, this. And later on, they go behind you, training people, go to Afghanistan, kill Americans.
Absolutely. By the way, I do need to take a moment here to say hello to our chat. We have a good chat out there. And I want to greet all of you guys. We got one right here from El Perro del Autumo. There's a tribal issues going back in those old countries like before the Russians, and Americans took advantage of their division. Thoughts on that?
I mean, it's absolutely true, at least, especially down south. I mean, there's a lot of different tribal problems going on there, and you have to know about all of it, which is why we actually got really mad at first, because we actually dealt with it internally with our interpreters, because 2 of our interpreters were Pashtuns and another 3 of our battalion's interpreters, two of them were Tajiks and one was an Uzbek.
There you go.
So we're getting 3 different cultural advisories are supposed to be the same guys on our side.
Yeah.
So we're all sitting there like, okay, who do we trust here? Like, who's telling?
And this is exactly where, and I want to point this out, Fahim. Anima says this: translating correctly isn't easy, and you're not just a translator; you're an interpreter. And a lot of people don't know the difference. There's a difference because you're not just translating the words; you're interpreting what they mean by it.
Yeah. To be safe. I mean, be honest with you, some of the words come out from my colonel or my captain from their mouths. I cannot tell an older Afghan, go F your mother. This is it's going to be, I did my best to not put a gasoline on fires. And
right.
I'm not saying.
We're not the most diplomatic of troops at the best of times. So, like you say, if you go tell a village elder to fuck himself, that is not going to go well, and you're probably going to get shot at.
Well at all. Hey, you got a compliment here, Fahim, from Zax, who says you're as handsome as ever.
Thank you very much. Thanks to my mom and dad. Thanks to my mom.
Thanks for mom and dad. ERRT Radio says there are many ways to read people. This follows up with what Anima said. And our dear friend Gap After Dark, hit that like button. 266 pizza in the chat and not showing us any love. No. Just, they're coming in to see the famous Fahim. Now, I know you can neither confirm.
I have one more comment before we go.
Oh, yes. Please do.
One of you comment the Russian took advantage of our tribe issues. this war, it hasn't started in 1979. This war started in 1839 when the British were the war was between a lion and bear, which is between west and east. When the British went to Afghanistan, went to India, and then it split Pakistan, this. And always the West wants to get involved with Afghanistan because Afghanistan is called the Silk Road. And a century, that Silk Road, China always keep an eye on that, and Russian keep an eye on it. If the Russian come to Afghanistan, Pakistan, they want to have the warm water, the warm ocean. That was the plan. It started 1839. If your audience can Google it, everything's going to be there. That's why this war is not between between tribe leaders. It's between east to west.
Right.
Same thing with Ukraine. The same thing with Ukraine. Why Russia wants to take Ukraine and the corner and the bottom to have access to the hot, warm water.
So, Fahim, explain to folks what it means, though, when the British set up arbitrarily the lines, when they tried to set up country lines, territorial lines. This is what really threw a wrench into Afghanistan, where people tend to clump and group. I saw it in Iraq. There were villages literally between Syria and Iraq where the villages didn't consider themselves Syrians or Iraqis. They were whatever they were of that family and that tribe. And they did business on both sides of it. But that's because the lines were really arbitrarily drawn. They took nothing into consideration.
I'm not trying to badmouth the British government, but you have to understand the history of British empires. They did a lot of chaos in Africa, North Africa, South Africa, and they did it in India, Afghanistan. They were very good diplomat, and they were better than CIA. They were better than all intelligence before when they were empires. And they want to split people. They give it the Pashtun money, they give the Tajik money, and same thing with the Iraqi tribes. They make them against each other. They were very good at it too. That's why those tribes now rise up. Hey, we were this, we were first, and the Iraqi Shia and Sunni. And this Shia and Sunni in the Quran, if you read in the Quran, there's nothing is mentioned as Shia and Sunni. Is these empires, the same thing with Alexander the Great, went to Afghanistan, went to all these countries to divide people. What they said, the best way to divide people and get them conquered. And they were very good at it, and that's why we call the Pashtun other side of Afghanistan, the Pashtunistan, and the Peshawar, Baluchistan, all those places. We call them the Pashtun of children of British. And the Pashtun in Afghanistan, they're more loyal, they're more proud. We defeat the British, we defeat the Russian, we defeat Mughal, Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, this. And we never, that's the only country we never bought. We're the only country we never obey other empires. And if you notice, every empire is coming to Afghanistan, they call Afghanistan graveyard the empire. You know why? Because they're not obeying. They want to do their own old-fashioned, like which is right now. If you steal it, they cut your arm. If you rape somebody, cut your heads off. If you do this, they want to go the old-fashioned. That's why earlier I said that democracy doesn't work. And I've been working with I'm proud to work with my Marines, and my Marine did. And I was on Lashkar Gah, I was on Dilaram, I was on Bujibas, I was on all these places. My Marine did work so hard. My commander says, I said, sir, you and I don't know half of this true story, what's going on behind the scene.
Fahim, I need to throw a question at you.
Sure.
You leave this quadrant young. You fought the Soviets. You get set up. You obviously have a true heart. I mean, a warrior's heart, but a very true heart. There's no doubt about it especially when I hear you talk. What was going through your mind when you decided, I've got to go back and I have to do this? I mean, obviously you're doing it for your people you left behind, but you're also doing it for the people that you've adopted and the land that you've adopted as well.
1979, when the Russian invade Afghanistan, I'm always been anti-communist. My mom left with my two sisters and brothers, and I was without mother for 6 years. Communists dividing us. And we escaped Afghanistan 5 years later to go to Pakistan. The only embassy I knocked the door, a Marine show up, American embassy, and say, we want to go to America. He says, do you have any sponsor? I'm saying, I think my mom's in America. We didn't know where my mom was. And he's the Marine. I never forget that. I say, I want to be like him one day. Young Marine, good looking guy, 25, 26 years old. And we had a translator say, come back in a week, in 2 weeks, we're going to find you mom. Of course, we fill it up, application and stuff like that. In 2 weeks, we come back, that Marine salute us and they say, we found you mom. I'll never forget that scene. And later on, in 30 years, I'm saying, I want to be like him. 30 years later, 9/11 happened, and this country gave me a citizenship. This country made me follow my dreams. This country loved me. The people nice. The people are awesome. And I want to pay back. When I first became a citizen in 1996, 92 or 96, the judge says, would you fight for this country? I raise my arm. Yes, sir. I will support this country. I will fight this country. When 9/11 happened, I saw they need me for translation. I saw Marines get killed. I saw Air Force get killed. I saw Army get killed. Now it's for me to time go pay back, stop my acting. I want to pay back for this country. I'm more proud to walk in the street than Joe Blow complaining about this country. They talk shit about this country. There doesn't matter white, black, Mexican, anywhere. If you don't like this country, go back where your great grandfather came from. Just get out if you don't like it. Do not take it for granted, this beautiful country. Our military, our Marines, Army, Navy, this go to fight for this country to make sure you walk in Laguna Beach and Beverly Hills and Alabama, wherever you are, safe. Because of us, you have the best shelter in this beautiful country. If you don't like it, leave.
Amen, my friend. Amen.
Oh, yeah. Plus, overseas, especially the Marines, we are assault troops. We are there to kick people's doors in, break their stuff, and destroy the enemy. But always, when we are going to be deployed and going down range in Fahim, I'm sure you guys saw this.
I was with 3-4 India Company.
Yeah, I was with Alpha 1-5.
Okay, Alpha 1-5.
And then
you were with General Mills or General Nicholson?
I was over there in 09. I forget who our division. Our division commander. Our division commander was Mattis.
Yeah, that was General Nicholson.
Okay, but that was, I think, CENTCOM commander back then.
Right.
But we were always taught to never forget that you represent the United States of America, and don't do anything that the United States will look badly on if it comes out. Basically, keep yours and the country's honor clean, and don't do shit if you don't need to.
Right.
Because that's what the Russians did when they came in, and it didn't end well for them.
No.
You can't win a war against Afghanistan by being brutal. You have to win them over.
Yeah, you have to win.
It also would have been real nice if we knew what we were doing instead of another blossoming mission every time we turn around. Every time you go, there's so many faces to what went on in Afghanistan. Iraq had a similar set of evolutionary periods where the military objective absolutely was never going to be met because they couldn't define what they wanted to do.
Right.
And every time they did define an operational objective, we completed it. When you look at it, I was in the 09 deployment into Garmser, where we were basically securing the left flank of Marja, and 2-5 was doing the same on the other, and 2-5 was doing the same just after us on the other side of the city, so that when 3-5 came in and pushed through Marja itself, there was nowhere for the Taliban to go.
Yeah.
So, that every time we had a clear objective like that, we met it and exceeded it. If you notice, Marja and Sangin stopped being centers of resistance.
The problem that I have, taking nothing away from, and you're correct, those successes, tactically and strategically, were met. But it seems
politically, we had no idea.
Correct. And it reminds me of that scene when the dog chases the car down the street and eventually catches the car. And it now says, now what? Yeah. Now what do you do? Now what are we doing? What was the plan afterwards? It was craziness that was added.
And also the overall mission goal, I think, morphed over the years, because initially it was going into Afghanistan, destroying Al Qaeda, and going after bin Laden. That was the mission. And then we were still in that mode when I was in, because I was about to do my second deployment, where right when bin Laden got killed. Yeah. So all of a sudden we're like, okay, so what does this mean for the mission? Like, are we done? Like, because that was our stated goal. And then we got mired down, just like we did in Iraq, with nation building and internal politics and all sorts of other stuff, and mission creep set in. And 9 years later, we didn't know why we were there anymore.
It's sad. It is sad when White House make a decision, or whoever come to White House make a different decision. In my opinion, as an Afghan-born American citizen, they should not leave Afghanistan. They should have stayed in Bagram Air Base, at least a small base like a Philippines, Germany, South Korea. But this too late.
Especially, Raheem, what was the blood and treasure that was spilt?
Yeah.
To get to that point, to have that go. And when you gentlemen bring this up, I always have to throw back. We had bin Laden in the crosshairs, and we did not take him out when we knew what he was headed for. We knew what he was headed for.
Yeah, they had him in their sights in the 90s.
He was in the crosshairs. And we did not take that shot.
When I was working in the movie 12 Strong and I was culture technical advisor, I was one of the commander, Northern commander, my character. I was helping the Dostum. And the director asked me, Fahim, is that correct? It's not correct. When we first coming from Kyrgyzstan to attack Mazar Sharif, and I'm saying we should have go take care of, go to Jalalabad, go to Nangarhar, pick up bin Laden, and that's it. That was the good timing, and get out. But our politicians, they wanted more money, and I don't know what happened. I don't want to badmouth our government, and I don't have.
No, you're allowed to. I know that's not in fashion these days, but we're allowed to. And God bless shows like this that people still do this. We may not agree, but you should have the right to point out, hey, this is pretty effing stupid, what we're doing here. And I completely believe we need to stop the Russians in Ukraine, but I'm not on board for the billions and billions of dollars that we're dumping over there, and there's no result. I mean, what's the goal here? Explain to me what we're trying to do.
At a certain point, you do hit that point. I mean, I'm sure you did, Cobra, as well, where where you don't really understand the mission and you don't understand why you're doing the things you're doing, so you can't effectively carry it out because you don't know what the parameters are that you're supposed to be operating under, and you're just sitting there like, what is the plan? Correct. Please advise over.
Pope, you're absolutely correct. And what happens when you get to that? It's actually the circle coming back around. And I know Fahim's going to agree with when I say this. You become tribal when that happens. You're no longer doing this for your nation. You're doing it for the person next to you and behind you.
Oh, 100%.
Because that's what happens. And that's when it really is a bad time. Because when we break down into those to the unit level, now you have reached that spot.
But you have to understand, sir, this country run by a war. This country run by money. This country run by making weapons. This country run by paying tax. And my tax lady says, are you sure how many dependent you have? I say, one daughter. Is that, are you sure you don't want to put Israel and Ukraine? I'm saying, what are you talking about? I was laughing. And it's our tax money. You, me, we all paid this tax. But somebody's getting rich. Somebody's getting rich. Somebody's making money. And I feel sorry for our military get killed and civilians get killed.
Right.
I mean, somebody's behind it, and don't have the power to tell them how to stop this.
I'm sure you're familiar with President Eisenhower, and as he walked out, he was very concerned. And I work within as a contractor, still I work for DOD. That military industrial complex that he pointed to becomes such a self-fulfilling prophecy that you, as you said, the money just begets this kind of nonsense. And what happens to the rest of us? Well, if you don't have sons and daughters going into battle, if you no longer have a draft, if you don't have what we used to call skin in the game, oh, it's terrible. And then you go off to the mall. Or now, forget the mall, you pick up your phone and you watch a movie on your phone, and even further disconnect.
Yeah, there was a Gold Star mother from Iraq, right? I think when I was serving, either 08 or 09, I heard this quote, and it's absolutely true. America is not at war. The Marine Corps is at war. America is at the mall.
Yeah, thank you for clear that. And
I remember seeing that on a whiteboard at the basic school.
Yep.
Well, I want to point out that this was a problem I had with GW when he went out there and he says, go on about your life. Don't worry. We got this handled. We're going to get these guys. Go shopping. And I'm like, you need to have your citizenry on a war footing so they understand the risk and cost. And it's a problem I've had with modern government and fighting wars. They just, the only connection we have now is through the media, and you can't trust the media. Whereas back in the good days, the old days, there was more connection between the citizenry and what was going on overseas.
Well, yeah.
I liked the media much better when they hated everybody and they were looking to keep everybody on the straight and narrow.
Right.
When I was in Afghanistan, the Chow Hall and Bagram Air Base and Helmand, Iraq, Kandahar, I'm saying, why so many Chow Hall and all Filipinos working, not Afghans working or Indian working? Right. And I asked them who's behind it. Guess who was behind it? The Chow Hall, Dick Cheney and Ron Phil.
They fucking assholes. Yeah, I can't stand those guys.
They own the Chow Hall. They full of plane of Filipino, Indian coming to Afghanistan, working the Chow Hall. Sorry, you remember we were in Helmand. Everybody was Indian on what do you call them, Chow Hall? He knows.
Oh yeah,
the DFAC.
Almost everybody. I mean, we didn't. Yeah, we didn't get to the DFAC often. We were on a small combat outpost, but when we did go roll through Leatherneck and a couple other big bases, everybody working the line and working in the back was either Indian, Filipino, some Hispanics.
Why not Afghan there? Oh, first of all, they don't trust them. Okay, what's good? You know how much they work per hours? $2 per hour is Indian, and can bring them to Afghanistan. And who make the money? The DoD Department of Defense contractor.
Oh yeah, the American companies that hired them made bank off of that and paid them almost nothing.
Then almost nothing. Even my salary, I suppose we get a $450,000 a year if I stay one there. They give me $150. I'm saying, where's the other $250? This is all for your medical, for this. But government printing money, give it to the contract. They put $250 in their pocket. They give me $150. I almost more than 5 times got killed.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't deserve that $150. I should be equal as a Marine, go patrolling, throwing into the.
Don't say that. They'll pay you $3 an hour. I made as a lance corporal on a deployment. I think I came home from that deployment with about $32,000. That was it.
Yeah, but Pope, we didn't take any taxes.
Yeah. True. Sorry, they didn't take any federal taxes out of my federal salary.
Well, I'm going to tell you though, they sure took it out of our pay when I was in. And I turned to my sergeant and I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I'm paid through tax dollars and then they're still taxing me.
Yeah, you're paying yourself to be there.
Pay me less.
But yeah, they told me if I stayed more than 365 days, I don't have to pay tax. When my team 3-4 left, 3-7, 3-5 come in, and when the colonel says, Lieutenant Colonel, I said, do you want to stay with me? And I miss my family. I said, fuck it, I'm not going to stay 365 days. And I come back and I pay heavy tax.
Yep.
Very heavy.
See, that's wrong. Hey, we got some comments again from the chat. We got Canadian Spider-Man has joined us.
Good to see him.
For a guy that lives in Canada, he's a great American. I'm telling you right now. I love this guy. I love this guy. We've got another Canadian friend of mine by way of Scotland. My good buddy Brian, the 70s rock fan. Greetings to you, my friend. Glad you're
My
here.
internet
He's
dad.
also a veteran who served in the Royal Air Force over in the UK. So that means he's an ally, so we can like him.
Had a lot of good times at the RAF.
We should thank him for tomorrow. They left America. That's what.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like Quigley Down Under. Yeah, we kicked the rabble out of America. But he's Scottish. I love that about him. He's a wee bit Scottish, you know. Shinatsky is here. He says the people at the top have a vision and they don't let things like reality get in the way. ERRT Radio says you earned your citizenship, Fahim. Thank you.
More than most.
Charles Smart says
that is a sad proof that you earned your citizenship, whereas most people take it for granted.
They do. But I got to tell you, something that amazes me is people who become Americans that started life elsewhere. And they know more about this country than most Americans.
Okay, I got a question. I got a question for all of you and all of your audience. Why they call it America?
After Amerigo Vespucci.
Thank you. I love you, man. A lot of Americans don't know how. American Vespucci came first, discover America. Then Columbus came in later. Thank you.
He drew the maps. Amerigo Vespucci drew the
map of the East Coast.
The map.
Yeah. And I'm so happy that we didn't go with the Vespucci side.
Yeah, right. Could you?
The United States of Vespucci, it just doesn't roll real well.
Yeah,
that's true.
Charles Smart says, sad when other countries become a hobby farm for arms billionaires. So I thought that really goes well with what you said before.
Yeah.
Thank you, ERT Radio. Thank you for subbing to the channel. We love having new listeners because some of the stuff we do here is fun. We're just doing it for fun. But then this show, Dangerous Nerds, is about military veterans and talking about military issues. And somebody that, even though he was not a military veteran, he served the United States Marine Corps in Afghanistan and served this country.
You know, seeing a lot of the stuff the Terps went through on the ground with us, I kind of felt bad that you guys weren't awarded the title that we were. Of, you know, you guys were Marines. You went with us. You did everything we did. You got shot at every time we did.
Oh, more than 10 times.
Yeah.
They put a price. The Taliban put a price on my head because I was so good at them village to village, going, make people laugh and people love us, and I bring them with my.
So you were a celebrity in Afghanistan too.
Yeah. Yeah. I was most of my character. I'm a Taliban leader on the movies and stuff like that. They didn't like it. But thanks God I didn't get.
Did it make him nervous?
What was it?
That made him nervous, didn't it?
Oh yeah, because I was like this. I was like this, in an American uniform and a long beard. They don't know if I was the Taliban or if I'm Afghan and American. They were kind of confused. I'm sure.
With all the cool shit you've done, you know what my favorite is, right? You remember?
What is it?
My favorite thing that you did was when you played Saddam Hussein versus
Pol Pot.
What's his name?
Pol Pot.
Pol Pot. That was it. Pol Pot.
Yeah.
In Versus, that TV show, I freaking love that. You as Saddam Hussein. That was cool.
Kill. What's his name? Pol Pot. Actually,
yeah, Pol Pot
killed a lot of people more than.
Oh my goodness gracious! He's right up there in the big hitters. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
When
he
couldn't kill in combat, they killed by starvation.
Yeah, in the Stalin Mao, mustache man debate, honorable mention's got to go to Pol Pot because he didn't have a whole lot to work with, but goddamn, did he get the job done?
See, I was like this. Nobody know I was Afghan or not Afghan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love that picture of you too.
This is the Helmand province. We got attacked. We have to all get down, and I pulled it out.
So
that was one of the photos I considered using for the cover for the first book. And then I saw that one photo of you, and I went, "That's the one I'm painting."
Yeah, you did. You did.
But because there's something mysterious about that image of you.
It's got the whole thing there.
That's
what
I
like this one. This one, I like all of them, but this.
I flipped that, by the way. That is, they changed that. They told me they were going to do it, but I didn't agree with it. Here's why. I felt that the Afghani flag, because we read books left to right in this country, okay? Comic books too. And the visual story is Afghanistan first, and then you became American. But they wanted to flip it on the
the reason they flip it, because if you put the American flag here, it's going to be upside down.
Yeah.
True.
And when Julie explained it to me, I went, okay, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Go ahead, flip it.
See, you're still doing the translator thing. You're finding the common ground. You're talking them off the ledge, and the audience loves you for that.
And honestly, translator is not the right word for what they did. Diplomat is the right word for what those guys were doing, because they were not only translating what the locals were saying, they were translating what both of it meant to each person into something the other one would understand and not be offended by.
And that's why it's so important. It's not just translation, it's interpretation. I want to promote the book right now. Here we go. You can get your own copy of Fahim Speaks Between Two Worlds, a Hollywood actor's journey as a U.S. Marine translator through Afghanistan. This is the expanded edition with new awesome artwork by me. And you can look at the top of the chat. There's a link at the top of the chat to go to Warriors Publishing right now and get your copy of the book. I'm telling you, it's well worth it. And you know what? If you get a hold of Fahim, email him or message him, you can get it signed. He will sign it for you, because I know Fahim.
I will do it for anybody. And I want to especially...
He will even fly to your home. No, he won't do that.
No, Cobra will pick him up and take him to your home.
If you're living in Idaho, Alabama, if I come like this, they probably call 911.
You would not go over well. Now, I want to get into some light stuff right now, because we can get back into heavy stuff in a little bit. But I love these things because I know you can neither confirm nor deny right now. But I want to show this off right now. This is the news that's gone out, is that Fahim is supposedly playing Jahanpurian villager, number one leader in the new Superman film. Also, if this does happen, if it really does happen, that will mean he'll be the only friend I've got that's been in a Marvel and a DC film.
True.
Can I put a little bit info? I signed an NDA. Yes, I did work on that movie. They already gave me credit on IMDb, and I'm extremely honored to be part of that movie. And the further, I cannot say anything because I don't want to leak information. And hopefully we're going to see it in 2025.
Well, we've heard that James Gunn has stepped up his game about making the military look good, soldiers look good. And the soldiers are friends with Superman in his film, is what we've heard. So I like that.
I wish I can give you guys more information. I love working with James Gunn. He's a very beautiful man. He's very good, very knowledgeable. And be honest with you, my dream come true. And that's all I can say. Hopefully.
Well, when the day comes, I'm going to have you back on
for
the
sure.
other Nerd Show.
I don't want to disrespect when I sign NDA.
NDA's got to stick to.
Well, can I just ask, how does it feel to work on two superhero movies like Superman and Iron Man, like two of like the big ones?
Be honest with you, sir. I come from Afghanistan with 9th grade education, with dream of being an actor, and working all these A movies. And when I talk to my American actor, I say, "How the fuck did you get all these things?" Because I believe in it, and I'm very honored to be part of these movies: American Sniper, Argo, and 12 Strong.
Yeah, because
Iron Man.
I got to point out that Charlie Wilson's War. You're in that, and also my buddy Kurt Yeager is in it.
Yeah.
And then you're in American Sniper. My buddy Eric Audi is one of the Marines in that, and you're in that one. So it's like, I love that when I've got multiple friends in these war films and shit. It's great.
Answer to your question, Marine. First of all, I want to thank you for your service, what you did for my birth country and this country. Yes, I'm extremely happy. Technically, my dream complete. All I needed to make my movie, that's it.
Sure.
I'm done. I mean, Venus, 2 super heroes movies and all these A movies. I mean, a lot of American, they go to school, become actor, this, and I wish them all the best to get that far. And all you have to do, open your heart, watch your back. That's my advice for them.
And the coolest part is, one of the movies you were in, I mean, Iron Man has always been my favorite character of all time.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So it was awesome. It was a great movie, and I actually loved your character in it as well, because it was just...
I was the one punching Robert Downey Jr.
Yep.
And later on, I found those pieces on the desert and put it together in the little tent and give it to Jeff Bridges. And Jeff Bridges coming up.
Going back to the earlier conversation about the past and creating weapons and putting stuff together, culturally, it's very accurate.
Yep.
Or the quote from Bridges there in the Tony Stark made this in a cave.
Yeah. Actually, I made it. I'm the one put it together. Not the second Iron Man. When we found these pieces, make it bigger and stronger, I was the one with my buddy put it together and give to Jeff Bridges.
And not only that, I actually saw that movie for the first time because I was in infantry school in the summer of 2008, and that's when that movie came out. So me and like 8 other Marines went to go see that, and then immediately went to go see it every weekend after that for like the next 4 weeks.
It's a beautiful movie. Hopefully, and my other TV shows coming next month is SEAL Team Season 7.
Oh yeah,
and,
I'm stoked about it. It's the final season. Boy, they're going to go out with a bang on this one. I'm telling you.
Believe it or not, Gary, I auditioned 10 times. I couldn't get it, and finally they called me for that.
Finally, you got it.
No, the reason they kept me, they didn't deny me. They kept in me to keep me as a leader, Afghan village leaders, and season episode 10, season 7, and hopefully you guys gonna enjoy it.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna. That show's amazing.
Anima and I watch that show religiously, and we do it. We do a recap every military Monday during the season because I love that show so much. I find it hilarious that an Army Ranger trained by the SAS is the head of the SEAL team, the military tech advisor for a show about Navy SEALs. That's just funny to me. By the way, we have some great comments again. ERRT Radio says, I am a U.S. Navy veteran. We salute you, my friend.
Quartermaster.
You. Yep. And Gap After Dark, we love our military. Yes, we do, sir. We definitely do. I will point out, Gap, thank you for sharing the Amazon post, but I really want to push Warriors Publishing sales on theirs because that's the company I work for. Pushing them.
They've been very nice.
Courtney says, hi, Martin.
Hey, Courtney.
She also said hello to Fahim, by the way. She's excited. She goes, welcome to our group. And then Charles Smar says, we have the First Amendment recognized right to, quote, peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Absolutely. And they like to forget that. They really do. Our government has a very short memory. They think they have the money. We have the money.
Well, and that was something we did right after the revolution, or right after Lexington, to the king. We didn't want to break away from England initially. We actually sent a letter of grievance, essentially, to the crown. Yeah. And was like, hey, these are all the things we're not happy about. If you can fix even most of this or work with us on it, we are more than happy to, be good little boys from now on. And, that'll happen tomorrow. Just give us your word on it. And he was basically like, how dare these colonials make demands of their king?
Posh English, man. They fucking pissed me off.
Yeah, and therefore they basically made the decision that even the ones who didn't want to break away from England were like,
I got to break in here on a commerce statement. Jerry, when I go to the site, and I think some folks in the audience, and it says buy the book, it's punching out to Amazon.
Oh,
well. Well, it's going to probably their store on Amazon.
Okay.
I'll be right back, guys.
That's fine.
Just make sure people know that if they do that it's getting to Warrior Publishing Group.
No, I mean, if you go to Amazon, it's still connected with a Warrior Publisher.
Okay. I just want to make sure because I want to make sure all the money goes to. Well, do you still get any money for it? The sales? Do you have a percentage of that?
Yeah,
Or am I allowed to know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to know.
I'm getting residuals the rest of my life. I mean, the good things about movie and book, you get residuals all your life until sometimes up, sometimes down.
Well, I think you've got a pretty good set of ups in your lineup, Fahim. Not from lack of talent or heart putting it together. So, but
yes,
so a big part of this, and I don't want to forget. Blessed are the peacemakers. It's in all the versions of the good book, and there's a number of them out there. And that's what you did. You stepped into the breach, and you did God's work. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I did work hard to get that far. And good things about my character, I appreciate every second what this country gave it to me. And I want to pay back, write a book, go to the military, help translation, or make a movie. Being a good citizen, being a good person, that's the most important, to pay back only not this country, but above you, your creator watching you. Your creator is more powerful than anybody.
And even if you don't believe in a creator or whatever, I firmly believe in the idea of civic virtue, of basically doing these things because they are the right thing to do.
Yep.
And you know that they're the right thing to do. Even if you don't personally benefit from it.
Yep.
We all benefit from it.
Yes, sir. I mean, myself, I'm not religious. I never practiced a religion. I'm always been believing children of God, and the one creator is above us. And I want to thank her, him. I don't know. I never heard who they are, but I still say thank you.
That is the best heartfelt line I'm going to hear. You made my Independence Day celebration.
And
you really did.
I'm not personally a believer myself, even though I was, grew up in this country, and it's one of those. Even if you don't believe in any kind of higher power, well, it's in my mind our duty to the republic to do what it needs of us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Especially, that may be because my grandfather was a Marine in the Pacific, and he instilled that in my dad, who instilled it in me.
Yeah.
And doing the right thing civically, or just because it's the right thing to do, is its own reward.
And make you feel good.
Yes.
Make you feel good. You don't have to get a credit who you want to give it to.
No,
give it to yourself.
Well, and that's a very Christian virtue in a lot of ways, of, especially giving charitably and stuff like that. It's supposed to be done privately, because no one else needs to know that. You and the big man both know it, and that's all who needs to.
And I'd be honest with you, when I joined go to Afghanistan, I did because I make me feel good, do something right. And I save a lot of lives over there. And I come back, keep my heads up. And a lot of my Marines, I'm in contact with them, and I appreciate them. When I walk in this street today or tomorrow, I keep my heads up. Anybody look at me and say, I've paid my dues for this beautiful country.
Well, and that's the difference between the volunteers in the American military, or any military, and, a random civilian, is everybody else looked at around that situation and went, oh, well, somebody should do something about that. Well, we all kind of went, I'm somebody.
Yeah.
I can do something about that.
Yeah.
And we did what we had to do.
That's true.
Some of it was great. Some of it wasn't. We lost friends along the way, and that's unfortunately the price of doing business. But at the end of the day, I can't look back on anything I've done and say I'd have done it differently.
I'll be honest with you, I never regret what I done, what you done, and what we all done. Everyone as an individual done things. We don't have to go to war to done something for nice things for others. I mean,
of course not.
We all did it our own share, kind of share to help others, and even you're helping your family, helping.
And it was something we could do.
Yes.
It's like, I may not be able to build a church or a school or something like that, or teach in that school.
Right.
But you know what? I can make sure people are safe while they're doing it.
Yeah.
While others are doing that.
That's true. I mean, sir, I work with a lot of Marines. I want to give you one compliment, sir. You're very knowledgeable. You have a lot of information all over the world in Afghanistan, and I appreciate you.
Well, we were taught extremely well by a couple of our actors when we went through Mojave Viper. We had a whole bunch of Afghan natives that were basically working with us, teaching us Afghan culture, Afghan history, things like that.
I did my training on 29 Palm Camp Wilson.
Yep, exactly.
I did.
We went through there as well.
Yeah. And I did training on Fort Benning, Georgia, too. I thought that they're going to send me with the Army. I said, no, I want to go with the Marines.
Well, I mean, our Army representative might not like this, but hey, if you're going to go with the best.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
There you go.
Here it comes.
My buddies come in. My buddy Sir come in.
I'm
pretty sure he's muted just so he can get the rant
he's
out
muted.
of the way.
Just lip read. He's muted. Just lip read.
I'm telling Pope to go fuck himself right now. Is what I'm doing.
Why? Because you can hear the shit-hitting grin on the other side of the mic?
Yeah. I can also tell, I could probably almost identify what tobacco he's using right now. It's probably Skull.
No. Grizzly.
Come on. Grizzly. Oh, okay.
Yes. Skull's expensive now. Fuck that.
You get used to that sound in the military because you can't smoke most places. Mm-hmm. So man, they're just always like putting a dip in the lip, and it changes the way you talk, and I can hear it. Like it's obvious. It's wild. I miss that sound too. That's why I enjoy hanging out with you, because you remind me of being in the military again. But let's get back to this chat here real quick, because Tim is here. Tim is officially here. So I have to go to the other studio real quick and play him his video. And did Zach show up, Martin?
Yes, he did.
All right, I got to play some videos here, guys. The first for Zach, because he was already here.
Hey, fuck you, Kyle.
There you go, Kyle.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me... No, now go away or I shall taunt you a second time.
That's the silliest we're going to get today.
I didn't hear the Tim, though.
That I took the Tim out and I put icky in there because that's what he says, Tim. I just wanted to mess with Tim.
And no Killer Rabbit.
He is our other limey audience member that we have several regular people from the UK that watch our shows, and they get a kick out of our humor because during the week I get really silly during the show and say some effed up things.
Not you.
I'm taking Fahim seriously, and so I'm not going to do so much silly stuff because I love having Fahim on here.
Thank you.
Oh, you bet. But before the show today, we covered the film The Rundown. We did almost a 2-hour show talking about that film. Do you guys like that film?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, directed by Peter Berg.
Yeah,
I love Peter Berg. And have you worked with him, Fahim?
Lone Survivor.
Oh, you were. Oh, that's right.
You're in that. That's right.
Yeah.
And Peter Berg is my favorite director right now.
He's a little. Sometimes he gets snapped, but he's a good director.
What do you mean?
He's very harsh. Very tough.
Doing scenes.
Yeah.
He comes up as an actor because he was an actor first.
He was an actor before, yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's where that comes from.
We shot it in New Mexico, Taos, New Mexico. Do you see those mountains?
And it really looks like the hills of Afghanistan. So, what did you think of that?
It was very good. I was a culture technical advisor on that too, and that was a good scene.
Now, where was that shot?
They shot in New Mexico. New
Mexico. Okay.
Yeah, Taos area.
A lot of movies they're shooting in New Mexico. 12th Song was shot in New Mexico.
Well, that was one of the shooting locations when Dale. I wrote the first screenplay. Dale wrote the second screenplay for City of Fire about the battle for Mosul back in 2004. and we scouted the location in New Mexico, in the entire town we were going to use. They got some great locations down there.
Yeah. It's cheaper too, and tax break.
Great tax write-offs.
Yeah, we shot a couple of other movies like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago in New Mexico, and not New Mexico, Atlanta, Georgia, and it's tax-free too. And we shoot
tax credits and tax breaks. It's amazing when states do that.
Yeah,
Missouri used to do it, but then we gave it to Louisiana, our plan, and so now Louisiana gets all that money.
In North Carolina, they're shooting a lot of movies too. Canada, they're shooting a lot of movies.
Well, I don't know if you remember back in the 80s, they tried to turn North Carolina into the second Hollywood.
Yeah.
De Laurentiis, other studios bought studio space there.
Yeah.
So there's still studios there
in
North Carolina.
Yeah. And Atlanta, when I was there 2 weeks ago, I saw like 10 studios of big lots. It's so big and very modern and clean. I think with Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg, they're building a studio in Vegas now. They want to separate themselves from Hollywood. They have some issues.
I think it's a big move that Hollywood, because of the way the system works.
It was a little,
now it's not just for the location; it's also for artistic license that people want to be able to do this. And if you have a really great story, but you don't, and you can't guarantee that you're going to make action figures, have a $250 million ad campaign to put it out to the world. You guys are fighting now direct to video. I think a lot of people have really been successful in figuring out how to, crack that code.
To be honest with you, AI is going to damage us very soon. There's a new programs come out. You can make a 40-hour, 20-minute movie in 2 days.
Yeah. It's just not the same to me. I'm probably showing my age for him, but it's just not the same to me.
No, of course it's not. And it's the same thing with CGI in a lot of ways, where it can fill in the gaps in minor ways here and there. But a lot of, especially like the Marvel movies and stuff like that, the later ones, where they start to make like the entire fight scene CGI.
Yeah,
you can tell, and once you see what's going on and what it is, you'll never unsee it. Where like limbs are bending, you shouldn't be able to. Things blur as the computer kind of can't keep up with the speed of the motion. Things like that. Like that's what takes you out of a movie.
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons that practical effects, regardless of if they're a real object or not, like all the models of like the old Star Trek and Star Wars movies are so believable and so cool, is because they're a physical object being filmed at 60 frames a second, just like your eye sees it, by a camera.
Yeah.
So you believe it. Like it's, and as long as you use the zoom correctly, it's to scale. Everything's good.
That's true.
CGI, you kind of lose that, and everything kind of has this weird sheen to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like it has this weird shine on top of the asset.
Well, you're separating out the human element, and that to me, that's just never going to work out long term.
That's what they kind of mean, I guess, by the uncanny valley is things that humans will and will not recognize as natural.
It's going to be a cartoonish kind of type of thing if you watch this kind of movie. Believe it or not, the other day I was watching soccer, and 10 minutes later I found out that was all AI. That wasn't real soccer, and I thought that was amazing.
Does the AI soccer players do the fake when they get hurt as well?
Yeah. They're a very good actor. All of them, they're a good actor. American footballers, you don't know how much they get hurt because they cover their face. But the European football is, oh my God, if you touch them, they were holding here.
Oh, yeah.
If you're touching their shoulder, that's why Americans don't like that sport. So
can I ask you, Fahim, you're in the industry. AI brings up all sorts of concerns, not just for script writing and voice acting especially, but also even for live action actors. it brings up a legal question of if an AI like decides that, say, your face and voice are perfect for a role and just uses it, do you then get royalties for it because it's your face and your voice, even though you never?
Well, that was a big part of the strike.
Because that's a huge legal question of, well, you haven't actually done that labor, but a computer has used your likeness to do that. Right. So that would, like, that's a weird gray area.
You know, when I did a movie 2 weeks ago, the contract is 3 pages. And for me, with English as my 6th language, even you guys American cannot read that. It's so complicated.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the word, even you guys grew up in this country, couldn't figure out what the hell they were talking about. I'm pretty sure they say, hey, you're going to sign this contract, we're going to use your voice and your face.
A little lawfare there, no doubt about it.
That's the concern for me, is that, you know, if you're going to be doing like CGI or 3D animation or stuff like that kind of movies, well, okay, maybe use voice actors or have AI develop the characters rather than basing them on a physical model of a living human.
Yeah.
But when you start using real actors and their faces and voices and their mannerisms, that starts to become not just a, facilitation for making movies. That starts to become replacing someone who has a job and has a personality that is on that set, that should be on that set and isn't.
Watch this.
Born with the ability to dream.
There you go.
We are all born with the ability to dream. Somehow between childhood and adulthood, people lose that ability. I am Fahim Fazli, a man of 2
That's not my voice.
Afghanistan, the country of my birth, and the United States, the nation I was adopted and learned to love. Also, I am a man who escaped oppression, found my dream profession, and then played it all forward by returning to Afghanistan as an interpreter with the U.S. Marines from 2000.
And for right now, it has noticeable differences from talking to you right now. It doesn't have your inflections. It doesn't have your cadence.
Yep. I mean, this guy made me read my biography. He sent it to me, but you see my teeth was like this. My teeth is not like that. And my voice is not that. But do you know what the guy said? All you have to do for him, I give you a call. Hey, Mr. Fazli, how are you? How is everything? Fine, thank you. We're calling from Bank of America. That's all they need to pick up your test, your voice.
Well, I was on a live stream with Comics Division about a year ago, and this was him kind of programming the thing what to say. But he had preloaded it with videos he'd done and clips of him speaking. And he went on like a 2 or 3 minute, little monologue with his camera shut off, and we couldn't tell it wasn't him speaking. It had his stutters, It had his vocal mannerisms, it had all of his, little idiosyncrasies down to a T. Right. And that is what concerns the hell out of me. Is not only for professionals like, say, you or Morgan Freeman or whoever would be perfect for a role, but you don't want to do it, well, or you're busy on another project, well, they'll just basically facsimile you into the movie, even though you had nothing to do with it. And also, things like criminal trials. Like, say if you have a phone call between the suspect and somebody else, even if they had nothing to do with the crime itself, can you then just make another audio recording that is essentially them confessing to the crime?
Yeah, you're right.
These things have really deep implications, and
it's going to be a problem on.
Don't get me wrong, it's a really powerful tool, but it also has extremely.
I find it very dehumanizing, and this is not just in art; it's happening in everything. This solution that somehow everything that happens in the military is going to be autonomous vehicles and remote control. I don't understand what the end goal is going to be. What
people have been warning since the 1960s about things like that and how it ends. It ends in things like Skynet.
Yep. I mean, it's so weird. People, there's a lot of cheating that's going to happen.
Of course.
Well, yeah, when you give people who have less than honorable goals those kind of tools, they will use them.
Yeah.
To do things that men like us would consider dishonest, horrible, and just beneath reproach. But these people will use them because it will get them a win.
They get them away and they can sell it in China. They can sell it anywhere they want to. It's tough. Stuff is going to be damaged. It's going to damage a lot of things for us. We'll see. Like I told you earlier, I'm complete with my dream. I got my 2 superheroes. All I care about them making my movie.
Well, and Shinatsky, I mean, even if it's not something as serious as that, like say, Fahim, you're in Hollywood. Say someone gets a bug under a hair across their ass about you, and decides to fake a phone call where you say some pretty horrible things, and they use it to destroy your career.
Yeah, and like that's what happened. The Turkish election last year happened. Somebody was running against the president of whatever his name is. I think he says something else. The AI made it, and that's it. His life is done.
Yeah, well, and there's the flip side of that too. Is even if you had said something or done something horrible in your life, that's on camera, you can kind of pass it off and be like, "Oh, well, that's AI" and stuff like that.
Right.
And people will believe it now because, well, when you can create a facsimile that's just as real as the real thing, people don't know what to believe.
Be honest with you, even with cheating wife and husband and stuff like that, a lot of people, they destroy people's life right now.
Oh, yeah.
I heard they sent...
I
sent you a couple of things here on my demos. I just texted you. I mean, on chat room.
Oh, in here?
Yeah, the last one is a good one. The last one, if you can do.
Yeah, pull those up, Martin. I did want to point out that you were working on towards a film of your life being made. What's the status of that?
Somebody made it in Afghanistan. They tried to make money on me. It's a Fahim.
I thought you were making one yourself. That you were working on one.
Oh, we are working right now. We try to make this one to become a movie. I mean, we have. Be honest with you, we got so many empty promise. Couple times we made a 1 or 2 scripts, and nobody liked the scripts anymore. They want to read the book and make it their own scripts, and they want to. If you're a director or producer, they don't want to have my vision to make a movie. They want to read this first, make it their own vision, and make it their own movie. And knock on wood, and 2-3 people was kind of online on top of it, but a couple of other ones was flaky and empty promise. But you have to understand, there's a lot of empty promise in this business.
Oh, I know.
A lot of empty promise. But you never know when the time is right. When the time
some of that's innocent. I mean, I know I do it. I've come up with ideas for shows. For stuff I want to do and have every intention of doing at some point, but I just never get around to it because I'm busy with other stuff. Like I would love to do more with Gary and all of you guys on either video gaming or music or anything like that. I have you guys on my channel and talk about that. But working full time and doing everything else I'm doing, it kind of
it's tough. Sometimes
it's scheduling everything.
Yeah,
Fahim, I want to tell you a quick funny story.
Sure,
my small scene in Bad Boys 2, I got to be the advisor, and then I actually got to fly in the scenes. I went down to Miami where they were doing the workups on all the scenes, and Michael Bay has a very commanding connection with the U.S. military because of the way he portrays the U.S. military. And I thought 13 hours was probably one of the finest movies that he did.
Absolutely.
But Bad Boys 2, I go in there. I'm in my uniform. He has these two big bull mastiff dogs. There's the long table. There's the commander from the military liaison unit out of Hollywood. He's sitting to my left, and everyone comes in and we sit down. I'm at one end of the table. Michael Bay, Mr. Bay's at the other end of the table. His dog, the mastiff, comes over. This gigantic, I mean, his dog's head is as big as a watermelon. This is one of the biggest English bull mastiffs I've ever seen.
Wow.
Actually, they have two of them, and the dogs are in the movie.
The dog's in the movie.
Yeah, it's the one that pulls the side of the pool out at the end. Those are actually Michael Bay's dogs. So the dog makes a landing on my lap, mouth all covered with food and water from eating, and it knows that I'm an animal person, so I'm petting it. Michael Bay sees this, and he automatically realizes, okay, I should listen to him. And he asked a question, hey, what do you think about this? I said, well, Mr. Bay, it's your movie, obviously. You're going to do what you want, but if you want accuracy, we don't do this. This is just not what we do. This is how we would do it. So everyone stops because who's this knucklehead who's just showed up, from the Coast Guard to talk about these scenes. So he says to me, well, what do you think I've done wrong in the past? And I said, well, in this movie, I'm not really upset with you. I'm just one of those guys. And I made this gesture. I'm one of those losers that sits in the theater when we still went to movies, actually, and look at the credits. Because if I ever know who the technical advisor is, I'm going to ask them, what the hell were you doing when you have the wrong uniforms, the wrong nomenclature? I don't expect civilians to get that right. So he heard me out, and he said, okay, let's sketch what you want to do. And that's what he wanted. And I thought that was one of the coolest things ever, to have a person of what he's doing and all the things he's take the time to listen to me. But he really did give a.
Well, he
really
admires the military, and I've read that about him, that he really has a lot of respect for military.
And I think that's part of that is he's worked with military units a fair amount to get assets and to get scenes shot over the years, and he realizes what we are willing to do to help out if you ask, and that we're people just like them. Whereas, a lot of the academia and the lab and people who've never dealt with the military sees us as these kind of automatons that just kind of do the bidding of whatever's going on. It's like, no, it's not what goes on. It's not what happens.
Or getting basic things wrong, how absolutely offensive that is.
Because the little stuff is what we identify by. And to, especially to Marines, attention to detail is everything. Where, if your uniform's a little bit wrong, and you're like, oh, or I can skip shaving that morning. Think that. Then go in front of your sergeant. Watch what happens. Fahim, I'm sure you've seen it happen more than once.
Yeah.
Of somebody's squad leader jumping
Somebody's
down
getting smoked. You're going to get smoked.
Oh, God, yeah. And we're harder on ourselves than we are on anybody else around us because we hold ourselves to that higher standard. And especially, like you say, Cobra, when it comes to movies, we expect those to reflect that because that's the standard we hold ourselves to, and we want others to see it.
And this movie, the one you put on the screen, that's based on true story. I was the leader of Taliban in Ghazni, and 20 hostages come into 20 church workers come into Afghanistan, try to change people's religion as a Christian or Buddhist. And I'm the leader of Taliban. I captured them, and I killed 2 of them, and I took 20 million, and I released 21 hostages. That's based on true story, and that movie's become #1 in South Korea.
I remember that because my buddy was actually a friend of mine from home. Was an Army Cav Scout who was stationed in Ghazni.
Oh,
at one point, and this was, I think he deployed in 2011.
Yeah, that's the time.
So him and he was working with the GROM at the time.
Yeah,
and they were dealing with that, and they're like, yeah, we told them it was a bad idea. They did it anyway. There's nothing we can really do.
If you want to play this, that's a good scene. This is my favorite scene. And the diplomat guy was sitting in front of me. It's a beautiful scene.
Yeah, go ahead and play a few seconds of it. We can only play. because they'll do copyright claims if we show too much. So just show 10 seconds of this.
No, this is on my YouTube. You can do it. It's free.
We're monetized. We're monetized, so they'll punish us.
Okay. You guys monetize.
Okay.
Bring it at the beginning. Bring it at the beginning. You like it.
No volume.
If you bring it at the beginning.
There.
Ooh, Browning high power, nice.
Is the price breaking down this deal?
I will send you to hell first.
The only way to stop the bombing is to tell them we have a deal.
We're not afraid of American missile.
Time is on our side, so did Allah. Eventually, we're gonna win this war.
The funny part is, a year before American pull out, and that dialogue, I read it, and I was impressed. Why the dialogue? This movie matched later on. Eventually, we're gonna win this war. Why the director or the writer of South Korea knows we were leaving?
Well, I mean, because a lot of people predict very accurately early on in the conflict the winners and losers. I mean, Ho Chi Minh even said it in Vietnam of you will kill 10 of us for every one of you, and in the end, it will be you who tire of it. Yeah. And that was true almost exactly.
Yeah. You want to hear my my favorite translation? We went to in Dilaram, this village. We went to this village. An older gentleman come. My colonel, he was kind of tough guy. He said, "Fahim, tell him." He was a staff sergeant. I'm sorry, he was a staff sergeant. He said, "Fahim, tell him we have a rocket, we have a bomb, we're superpower with this, we're this, we have a jet, we have this. We're gonna destroy the whole village in 2 hours." And I explained to the older gentleman everything. And guess what the older gentleman told me? "Come here, tell him you have all those things. We have a time."
Yep. Well, I heard that more than once in meeting.
Every village we go, they use it. Don't worry, we have a time. I don't know why they keep saying we have a time. And that translation was all over Afghanistan.
Well, essentially, what they mean by "we have the time" is the same thing Ho Chi Minh was saying. Is in the end, you will tire of this before we do.
Yeah.
Of you do not have the will to stay here longer than we have people to resist you.
Yeah.
And in the end, they were both right.
But you have to understand, sir, guerrilla fight, we have in America, we have the best weapon, this. But guerrilla fighters, it doesn't work. Guerrilla fighters, they shoot from the cave and go back to the cave. What are we going to do? Bomb the whole mountain?
Well, that's always been the conundrum with counterinsurgency is, and why it almost never works.
Yeah.
Fighting an emerging campaign is almost always a losing fight. Because unless you are willing to be brutal enough to make them fight you conventionally, otherwise known as wiping entire towns out if you take the territory, which we are not willing to do.
That's true. I mean, I saw both. I saw American fighting and I saw Russian fighting. I prefer fighting with American because the Russian fight ugly, man. If they want the bullets coming from the window, they're going to destroy the whole window, the whole building. American was so accurate.
Yeah, we go out of our way to try to limit casualties to the people who deserve it and nothing more.
Yep.
And even if it costs us lives, which, trust me, that's a hotly debated topic, and especially among the infantry. We've all lost friends to situations we should have just backed off and called in artillery.
That's true.
But we didn't because it may have been civilians in the area, and we couldn't be sure.
We got ambushed in Lashkargah. We have 20 Humvees. I was with the Staff Sergeant Cook, and we pull over, and there was a bunch of IED was there. And the first truck was blow up. Nobody got killed. And we stopped waiting to clear the road, and mortars coming from the village. I asked Staff Sergeant Cook, why don't you shoot back? I said, Fahim, I can destroy the whole village, but we're not Russia, we're America. We do the right.
Well, and a lot of, I'm sure you heard this a couple of times, is a lot of our fighting doctrine is when we don't do things like that would be strategically or tactically advantageous to us to do that. The answer is because Americans don't do that, or Marines don't do that. That is how we want to be known throughout the world, is we don't do those kinds of things because it's not how we operate.
That's true.
And that's the only thing that needs to be said about it. There's no
Well,
moral
I disagree with you there. Respectfully, I disagree with you, Pope, because when you are going to engage that way, and I agree that's the way it's supposed to be, then you must take the utmost care on how you're going to deploy your troops, that precious cargo.
Oh, absolutely.
And we don't. See, that's the problem with that, because that price is going to be paid. What Afghanistan learned, and very rapidly, and the world learns very rapidly, is that they get to play the press and the media. And we live in an age now that with your handheld cell phone, you can send up an immediate. What's AI going to do to propaganda in future military events?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, when you
talk about it, what's going to happen there. So when we are going to commit troops, when we're going to commit operations, we better be clear what we're going to do, and we're not. And that's probably the most aggravating spot that I sit when I look.
Well, at least when we were deployed, we were given a clear mission and a clear objective. So you will eradicate Taliban presence in this AO, and we did very, very quickly. Yeah. And we made sure that through our interpreters that the locals knew that even if we were using pretty heavy artillery and weapons, we weren't targeting them.
Yeah, but did you know that, sir?
We were only targeting. If we took fire from a building, yes, we were going to back off and call in air support, because we're not sending our Marines to go rip it out of that building. So if you
what was your question, Fahim? What was the question you were going to
ask? Did you know that, sir? Our politician was playing game. You and I, we were in Helmand province. Behind the scene, our politician was made a deal in Qatar. In Qatar with the Taliban, they were sitting, and this wheeling dealing was starting doing Trump, Obama, Biden. 3 presidents was involved with wheeling with the Taliban. But you and I get dodging bullets, and that wasn't fair for us, for you and for me and the rest of our.
Well, I mean, when we were there, that hadn't started happening yet, because the Taliban still thought they were going to beat us outright.
Oh, that's.
And when we came back into Helmand province in 2009, we came in like the fist of an angry god, and they were not ready for it.
Wow. Okay, that was maybe after when Trump took over, the dealing started. Okay.
Yeah, once we started the occupation phase of the Afghan War the second time in 2013 to 18,
right?
That's really when that started.
That's
because we're talking like after Marja and Sangin both happened. We had destroyed the Taliban's ability to hold that territory.
Right, that's true.
As long as we were there.
Yeah, as long as they were afraid of Marines more than other troops. I don't know. British, they tried so many times, they couldn't do it. Marja was the most toughest place. I went to Marja one day, and my 3-4 said, let's get out of here, because we were there for building some mosque and clinic or a couple other things. The fight between other Marine and the Taliban was so strong, we couldn't get inside of the village. It was a tough moment. And I want to thank you and thank the rest of our military for their service. And I'm very honored to call you guys my brother. And I'm so glad we all still alive. And the ones lost their life, rest in peace to all of them. The ones coming without some issues, God bless them. And I pray for them. Hopefully get back to normal and enjoy this beautiful country. That's what I can do.
Well, the same back to you, Fahim.
Absolutely.
It's a real honor to have you even say that.
Amen.
Thank you. And is that okay? I leave and pick up my dog from the groom 5 o'clock. This is my baby.
Yeah, we can end it now. I think this is a pretty good show. I don't know. We've had a good audience and a lot of good activity, and a lot was said. And it's just always awesome to have you on here, Fahim.
Thank you. And thank you for you guys, all of you, allow me to speak my mind. And I did a little polish it, the reason, because I don't want to badmouth my government, which is, it is a free country, freedom of the speech and stuff, but it's still the way I grew up, we always respect where we are. And I still have the fear from the communists. If you talk shit about your government, tomorrow they're going to pick you up here. But
look, they're trying to make it this way in Canada and here. They've done it in the UK too.
And that's one of the main reasons
we're going to fight them
so vehemently against it. Just like you said, anti-communist 100%, because people need the ability to redress grievances with their government.
Yeah.
Whether they be in the right or the wrong, that's for
country. There's country and there's government. You should be able to criticize your government.
And that is one thing that has kind of gotten lost in the shuffle in recent political discourse, is there is a difference between the nation, the people, the government, and the parties.
Yeah.
And people kind of get that messed up.
That's why I educate a lot of French or Italian or Arabs. Or he says, you help American. I'm saying, listen, I didn't help government. I help American. Americans are good people. Americans, every government is bad. Doesn't matter where you're from, China, this government always crooked. Military, they're clean. They want to pay their serve. They want to help the country. America's different. The people's different. The government's different. The religion's different. You cannot come back together. I always argue with them. Sometimes they call me traitor. And I say, so what? Why are you here? Why don't you leave then? God bless you guys.
Hey, thank you very much, Fahim. Again, get your copy of the book right now. The link is at the top, and there's also the link that who was it that shared? One of our wrenches shared it over on Amazon. And if you get a hold of him, find a way to get him to sign it.
Before you run out of here,
Commander,
Semper Fi, brother.
Yep. God bless you. Semper Fi to you, and thank you for all of you for your service. God bless.
God bless you.
Thank you.
I'll see you later. God bless, my friend. Yeah. All right, bye, Fahim. So he's in 2 of my comic books, by the way. And he actually interacts with me when I'm doing the books because he names his character and it always has some sort of significant importance. And he likes doing that. It's like I've had this relationship with him for so long, and I just love the guy. And you can tell meeting him now, just a sweetheart of a human being.
Absolutely.
And a very thoughtful and very not considerate, but like not just thoughtful and considerate of others, but thoughtful and considerate of his actions and
he's
his
introspective
in the larger context as well.
Yeah.
And man, like it's hard to not like a man like that.
I agree.
Exactly. I am so glad I invited you to join today. It's been
I've
great
enjoyed
conversation.
the entire crowd. Pope, it's been an honor to be with you. Jerry, you know I love you. Martin's always fun,
brother. And
Happy Independence Day.
Happy Independence Day. You don't have to leave yet, but I'm going to play the credits now, and in the show we can still talk afterward. So, hey, everybody, please be safe tomorrow. That's here in the United States. All of you that are overseas, like Britain, fuck you. We love you, but fuck you. Because tomorrow's our day.
Also, you all better show up with the same amount of digits you came with.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I remember those speeches. I remember giving those speeches.
Do not add to or subtract from the population.
And Courtney, have a safe 4th of July. And everybody just have a good week. Hump day. All right. We're going to fuck off now. Bye.